Another 189 Ukrainian servicemen have been released from captivity as part of prisoner exchange with Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced this on his Telegram channel. Azovstal defenders, servicemen who were captured in Mariupol, Chernobyl, and Snake Island are among the released people. Among those returning from captivity are soldiers, sergeants and officers of the National Guard, Azov Regiment, Border Service, Territorial Defense Battalions, Naval Forces and Armed Forces. Moreover, 2 civilians captured in Mariupol have also been returned.
Хлопці, добрий день! Добрий день! З поверненням вас в Україну. Дякуємо вам. Держава Україна, президент України Володимир Зеленський, координаційний штаб з питань поводження з військовополоненими на чолі з генералом Будановим вітають вас. Ми чекали, ваші рідні чекали, боролись за вас. Вся країна боролась, сьогодні ви вдома. З Новим роком вас, з Різдвом Христовим. І боротьба за повернення кожного чекає і триває. У вас попереду процес реабілітації, відпочинку, відновлення. Він буде забезпечений, ви найближчим часом зв'яжетесь зі своїми рідними, побачите їх. Ви багато пережили, ви українські герої, захисники, на вас чекала вся країна. І сьогодні вся країна святкує, радіє разом з вами і з вашими рідними. Робота і боротьба за повернення кожного триває. Ви витерпіли, ви вижили і дякуємо вам за терпіння, за стійкість.
At the moment, the situation in Toretsk has not changed. The enemy continues its assault operations in the city. Among the personnel of the Russian army, there are many violators of discipline who have had precedents and are moving forward out of despair. This was said on the air of the telethon by the officer of the 12th Special Forces Brigade, Azov, of the National Guard of Ukraine, Ravlik. The enemy is operating in small infantry groups, trying to advance through the surrounding areas and using equipment. Literally yesterday, an armoured personnel carrier with the enemy arrived and was destroyed thanks to the coordinated work of the units. Therefore, nothing is changing, the Azov officer emphasised. Regarding the motivation of the Russian occupiers who are currently participating in the assaults, the enemy personnel are mainly violators of discipline in the Russian troops. In general, the majority of Russian stormtroopers who are captured say that the Russian command is throwing them to the slaughter. If I'm not mistaken, the Russian generals have already reported that they have completed the tasks that they were set by their state. I will say this, the stormtroopers who were captured by us have a completely different opinion about all of this. They say that they are being thrown to the slaughter, that they are still far from completing the task that was set, the Azov officer summed up. As media reported, the press secretary of the Operational Tactical Group, Luhansk, Anastasia Bobovnikova, recently said that the Russian occupation forces have changed their tactics near Toretsk and Chasov Yar. In particular, the enemy has begun to use equipment that is being recorded on the northern outskirts of Toretsk in Nelepovka. The press secretary noted that the situation in Toretsk remains tense, with Ukrainian defenders fighting with Russian occupiers for every house. Ukraine faces serious challenges due to a shortage of manpower on the front lines, while Russia uses brutal and expensive tactics to increase the pressure on Kiev's defences, Business Insider reports. Dara Masako, a senior fellow in the Russia and Eurasia programme at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, recently returned from a research trip to Ukraine, where she met with Ukrainian units facing troop shortages and many other problems. What the units are experiencing from the Russians is a significant strain from Russian tactics, Masako said, on a podcast by the Center for Strategic and International Studies. She noted that the Russians are constantly, day and night, attacking Ukrainians in very small groups. It's death from 1,000 cuts. It's very stressful for units that are understaffed. Russia's small-scale assaults, known as meat assaults, have always been a problem for Ukraine, but they are now making the situation particularly difficult because of the manpower shortage. To address the issue, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky lowered the minimum age for mobilization from 27 to 25. But the Biden administration is pushing to lower the age further to increase the pool of people available for conscription. So far, Kiev has resisted that step. However, personnel problems are not unique to Ukraine. Russia also has problems with mobilization. Although these problems are less urgent than Ukraine, Moscow suffers significant losses on the battlefield, raising questions about the ability to supply the troops in the future. This human wave tactic is proving extremely expensive. Experts at the Institute for the Study of War note that Russia's commitment to maintaining a high level of activity on the front is placing a huge strain on its human resources. The limited labour pool is unlikely to withstand this level of losses in the medium term, the updated war report said. Russia suffered its heaviest losses of the war in November, averaging more than 1,500 soldiers a day, according to the UK Ministry of Defence. The total for the month was about 46,000. November was the most expensive month for the Russian military and the fifth in a row in which its losses have increased. The high casualty rate probably reflects the intensity of Russian operations, the UK Defence Ministry said, adding that Moscow was likely to continue losing more than 1,000 soldiers every day. Russia is using Soviet tactics in which any gains justify even significant losses. Troops are thrown in wave after wave, depriving Ukrainian units of the opportunity to rest. This tactic was observed in the battles of Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Pokrovsk, and other cities. The Russian leadership has demonstrated its willingness to bear these losses in a long campaign that benefits Russia because of its numerical superiority. Ukraine, on the other hand, has fewer resources for such a fight. Masako stressed that Russia is still putting enormous pressure on Ukrainian troops despite high casualties. Losses do not lead to the end of this tactic.